Hi! We're here for our second episode of the playthrough of the Human Noble, and we made a character called River because it's for a stream. I like my bad jokes, so I try to repeat them. So we just got through the first bit of the prologue, where we went around and talked to everybody and avoided doing what we were told to do for as long as possible, which is what you do in an RPG. If you go do what you're told to do, then you might miss things. Can't have that. So we did that, and we had just gotten to the point where we had just said goodbye to Fergus, and we got a little further than that and had some technical difficulties with some lag, but the lovely and talented Andrastini gave me some advice for fixing the lag, which helped immensely, and so hopefully we should be good today. So I guess we'll see. So what I did is I had a save from just before the the part that we started. So we're gonna start there over again, because I mean we don't want to miss a chance to see Dyron getting up out of bed again. I mean you never want to miss that. Just for the sake of being thorough. It's for science. All right. So we've just said goodbye to everyone. Bye, bye, Fergus. Bye, everyone. For real. I mean, I'm sure you'll be fine. Why wouldn't they be fine? Right? Oh, I hear the dog. The dog does not believe me. He doubts that they'll be fine, is what I'm hearing. Smart dog. What could possibly happen next? Ooh. Oh no. What could it be?
I'm sorry, I've been trying to quiet him, but he won't have it. I don't know why he's so angry.
You've been trying to quiet him for the last 10 seconds that we've both been standing here when you just looked at him. But that's okay. We'll let you have that one. Perhaps something is wrong.
I thought I heard yelling when I woke up, but now I hear nothing. Wait here. I'm going to see if there's something out in the hall.
No, don't do it! Oh, no! Okay, well, there are bad guys here. And surprise, surprise, they are house soldiers. Who could ever have seen that coming? And I meant to fight them, but fortunately, I have a chest right here because I really don't fancy the idea of fighting in my underwear. So I'm gonna go ahead and be like, hey guys, hold on just a second. I'll fight you in a minute. I just gotta get some armor and some daggers out first. That's cool, right? Yeah, okay. I figured you'd think it was fine.
On it.
Alright, so now I shall put on clothes and some weapons and some armor. There's some things here that are from mods, and I'm not sure which one they're from, but they are not things that function properly for me on this character, so okay, that's fun. The big gloves, the big boots, and underwear. Let's not do that, though. We've got a weapon set there, so normally I would switch out to the lion's paw boots, which are a little bit better. Let's see here. We've got our armor on. Yeah, we're good to go. Now we can put some cool bling on. You don't want to be under accessorized to a battle. It's just embarrassing. No noble would be seen fighting for their life without the proper accessories. It's just not done. Let's go with that. Let's go with this one and this one for now. Oops. Or that one. Sure, why not?
Die, scum!
Oh! Don't say that to my dog! You jerk! I'm not gonna do that. I'm not ready to trigger those guys outside yet. Oh, I cut his head off. Did you see that? Wow, I'm a badass. There's 2 more guys over there, but apparently they're really unaware. Oh, I cut his head off too. Man, very vicious. They don't see us. They're very dull. I mean, they are How soldiers, so what do you expect, really? So, let's go get him. Oh, he's trying to break down my mom's door. Oh, I'm standing in his blood. That's gross. Let's go get him. Come on, dog.
Where is the can? Tell us!
I'm not telling you many things, you jerk.
On your guard!
I'll never break. I'll tell you nothing. Perfect.
Darling,
Oh, hi, Mom.
I heard fighting outside and I feared the worst. Are you hurt?
No way, but I cut a couple of guys' heads off. It was super cool. I mean, no, I'm good. But I was about to ask you that. I mean, yes, Dyron, but really, it was a very brief fling, so I'm more concerned about Mom. I was about to ask you that.
They never got through the door, thanks to you.
Well.
Her scream woke me up. There were men in the hall, so I barred the door. Did
Good
you
call.
see their shields? Those are How's men. Why would they attack us?
I don't feel like this is the time for sarcasm. So I think we'll go with outraged anger. He's betrayed, father! He attacks while our troops are gone. That was terrible. Let's try that again. He's betrayed, father! He attacks while our troops are gone. It was a little better.
You don't think How's men were delayed? On purpose? That bastard. I'll cut his lying throat myself. Have you seen your father? He never came to bed.
No, I haven't. I was in my room.
We must find him.
We, should check on Oriana and Orin as well.
And trust his mercy. What if the soldiers went into your brother's room first? Let's check on them quickly. Then we'll look for Bryce downstairs.
So, I'm gonna go in here
Perhaps
for
we
a
can
second
salvage some
and
things here, darling.
take what I want from
Some
Mom
of
and
your
Dad's
father's
room.
belongings are in that trunk.
I have a hunch I won't be back. Before we go on, I want to go into a side thing here just a little bit. Eleanor Kuzland, the character of Eleanor Kuzland is super interesting to me, and if all you are familiar with is the base game, you might not know why that is, but she actually is a super badass. And I had mentioned yesterday that she was in a song, that Bryce and Eleanor Kuzlan were in a song, or not yesterday, Monday, that the two of them were in a song called The Soldier and the Sea-Wolf, and I was trying to remember where that was from, in what codex entry, or where we were going to see it, and I realized it was not in a codex entry, it was in this. So let me just show you what that is. And basically, it's this image right here. It's a page from Wonders of Thedas, or The World of Thedas, Volume 2, and it includes this image of the soldier and the sea wolf. And the thing that I think is cool is it talks about her history, and that she is the daughter of a famous raider, like seacoast pirate type raider, and that people joke that the Lord on the Waking Sea are really just pirates who got tired of pirating and decided to settle down. But her father was really well known, and was called the Storm Giant. But when everything hit the fan with the invasion of Orlais, the raiders and pirates all got their boats out of storage and went back to work fighting against Orlais. And the band's children were among them, and the best captain, the best sea captain among them, was his daughter Eleanor, who got nicknamed the Sea Wolf because she took out her first warship when she was, as a captain, when she was only 15, which is pretty badass. So when they reclaimed Denerim, when as it says in there, I don't know if it's big enough to read, but as it says in there, when the Ferelden's reclaimed Denerim from the Orlesians and kicked them out, they knew that Orlais would try and get it back by sea because Denerim is a seaport city. And so in response to that, they called in all the ships that they could get, the whole navy that was commanded, essentially, by Eleanor's father. And while they were doing that, they said that all the ships should be guarded by additional soldiers to be protected and to do boarding actions to take over the Orlesian ships. And so all of these various soldiers were assigned to all these different ships. And it just so happened that Bryce Cousland was commanding his own regiment of men, and they went and were assigned to the Mistral, which is Eleanor's ship. And apparently the first meeting, according to the song, the first meeting was so terrible that is what the song was about, actually. And from what the song says, when he first met the Mistral's crew, when the soldier met the Mistral's crew, not a word of their great deeds he knew, and the Sea Wolf he took for a servant lass. Great Andraste, what an ass. So it didn't go well when he first met her, but as they worked together, they got to know that they were, a really good team, and eventually he proposed by threatening to sing all 10 verses of The Soldier and the Sea Wolf, and she gave in at verse 3. So it's just a fun story, and that is the reason why it's so cool to me when you fight with her here, because she's sort of given up that persona and become this very regal, Eterna, and yet this is the person that she is, and I just think that's cool. So yeah, I just think that's neat that's her history, and that you get to know a little bit more about the characters. That's one of the things that I love about the World of Thedas books, is that you get more backstory and more things filled in about the different characters and what their lives are like. Yeah, I'm a nerd, I know. Alright, I guess we should go back to fighting our way out of the castle here. Find out what happened to Dad. But first, that means we have to find out what happened to Oriana and Orin. Well, first that means we need to loot, because that's the most important thing. There's a bunch of stuff in my... Oh, poor Dyron. Alas, poor Dyron. We knew you so briefly. And... here we go.
Right.
No! My little Orin! What manner of fiend slaughters innocents?
I'll make them pay.
How is not even taking hostages? He means to kill all of us. Oh, poor Fergus. Let's go, I don't want to see this.
Yeah, I have a mod that actually takes out in the farewell scene. Fergus has a line where, Orin's like, I want a sword, and Fergus says, "Oh, you'll see a sword soon enough." And I know I get that it's probably meant to be foreshadowing, but it's just a little much, So I have a mod that takes that out. I don't hear the dad threatening his kid right before he takes off. It's kind of messed up. So, oh, Barkspawn has leveled up. Let's give him some more strength and dexterity. I'm sure someone will come along who will be like, I can't believe she puts all her points in those things. What a moron. She doesn't know how to play this game. Well, they can think that if they want. Alright, moving on. More bad guys. Ba-ba-bum. I kill you.
Only one
How
shall
dare you!
stand. On it.
Die, fiend!
Oh, you pissed off Mom now. It's like, die, you fiend.
The Cousins will not fall to the likes of you!
Well, not all of them, anyway.
Isn't
We
going
will
to
not be
be me.
defeated!
Oh. Man, I'm big on the beheadings today. Well, he doesn't have anything useful. Here's the room we couldn't get into before, with a nice shiny chest in it that we can pick the lock of. For more elf fruit. Can't go wrong with more elf fruit. And we have some guys to loot here. Try not to track the blood through the hallways. Although I guess it doesn't really matter because I'm pretty sure all the servants that would normally clean it up are probably dead by now.
Oh, dear Landra. I'm so sorry. If she hadn't come to me, if she hadn't been here.
It's not your fault. It's the fault of that bastard How. Alright. Onward.
Can you hear the fighting? Hal's men must be everywhere.
What should we do?
The front gates. That's where your father must be.
We can't just let How win.
Listen, darling. We haven't much time. If we can't find your father, you must get out of here alive. Without you and Fergus, the entire Kusen line dies here. If Hal's men are inside, they must already control the castle. We must use the servants' entry in the larder to escape. Do you hear me?
But I want How dead.
Then survive, and visit vengeance upon him.
Oh, alright. I'll do it the long way. That's what it takes. Oh, they killed a soldier in here. Apparently he wasn't soldiering enough. Move on down this way. It was so peaceful earlier and now so not.
The castle has fallen! I'm getting out of here!
Don't be a coward. See, this is why we always take the coercion ability to get things like this. Don't be a coward. Stand and fight.
Yes, my lady!
That's right.
Here they come!
Alright, and there's a mage back here, and the mage always goes first.
Is it just me, or do you actually think you have a chance?
Meanwhile, Mom ran off to the other end to take on the entire crowd by herself. But she's a badass, she can handle it. I hate to have to kill the enemy Mabari.
How dare you!
Yeah. Yeah, Mom. You're right. Those jerks.
Be defeated!
Hey, Julia.
Let's get started. started.
You know, I probably should do that.
This should be easy enough.
No, she would probably. Julia says she's a badass with her fists, but are you gonna give Mom a weapon? She would probably be more effective with a weapon than just punching them out, wouldn't she?
On it.
See, this is why I don't play on Nightmare mode for things like this. I'm so interested in like talking about what a cool character Eleanor Kuzland is that I forget to give her a weapon. Let's do that, shall we? Let's do that. Okay, Mom. Here, you can have some Kuzland ceremonial daggers. Why not? And I'm going to switch to a longbow because I like to stand in the back and not get punched in the face. It's kind of my thing. And I'm gonna put this here as a backup. And probably forget to change to it. Does she? I really never usually pay attention, to be honest, which is terrible to say. Oh yeah, she does. Honestly, like I said, I generally get through this pretty fast and I don't really think about it. So, she can use swords this time. She'll be alright. I want the bow. We'll find another bow soon, I'm sure. Oh, they came back, those jerks.
Ooh! Ah! Ah!
You had it coming.
Yeah. Alright. So. Yeah, I usually am not quite this ditzy. I pay a little bit more attention, but when I'm trying to make sure that the stream is running and the sound is working, all that at the same time, it takes a little more attention. Oh, I know, my first playthrough was just so long ago. I played it so many times since then that it's hard to even remember it.
A little frantic. I can see why. Less fighting, more dying, blast you. On it.
Yeah,
Right. This should be easy enough.
Since I have my fiction to the same as you, since I have my long fic that has its main characters in there, I tend to think about those instead of.
You will be avenged, old sage. I swear it.
By Gramthar's hammer, you will be avenged. Random Galaxy Quest reference. But yeah, I have the characters in my fiction and I spend so much time working on that and thinking about them that remembering my original character, especially because it was so long ago, just seems like forever. It's hard to even remember most of the playthrough and most of the reactions. That's why it would be so cool to be able to like wipe your brain so that you could go back and play a game for the first time again. I wish that you could do that. This is a game that I definitely would do that with.
We're getting close to the treasury. The Kuzland family blade lies inside. Here, darling, take my key. That blade cannot fall into Hao's hands. It should sever his treacherous head.
Yeah. Well, I hope the guys here enjoyed their playing cards since it was the last thing they got to do. Nothing else in this room. So we're going to use our key and move on in here. See what we've got. Armor stand with some good stuff there that I'll probably eventually sell, but that's beside the point. Family sword and family shield. You know, it's funny because I always feel compelled to like save that for the whole game and save it for the whole game and then use it to fight Hao later on. Oh, I know. I am so behind. Like, I really wanted to have my fiction done before the end of the year, and I just say that I keep saying I'm going to do it, and it hasn't been done yet, and that's terrible. I have so many projects, though, is what is, you know, makes it difficult, and I am making it better by starting live streaming. So, Rapid Shot is a sustained ability. As I said, I think yesterday, or I keep saying yesterday, last time, I'm not a big fan of the sustained abilities. I feel like they take a lot of energy that you could use to use other stuff, to use other abilities. I tend to like things that are a little more active or completely passive that don't cost any energy. So, you know, I don't tend to use the sustained abilities as much. So now that we have another bow, and since Julia made the very good point that all of Eleanor's skills are ranged, we'll go ahead and give her a bow. I'm keeping the cooler one, though. She can have the one that's not as cool. Well, we'll do this. So she's got two. And, there we go. Yeah, it is, the Awakenings is a much shorter game, but it's still not an insignificant amount of time. Certainly not as much as playing through the entire
Desperation is
game,
an
though.
ugly perfume.
So what about after you finish Awakening? You
Let's get started.
gonna be on to Dragon Age 2 with your recording? Now that you've gotten the
This should
video
be easy
making
enough.
bug? Right around the time of Dragon Age Day,
Right.
Julia here started a playthrough of Origins and recorded it and put it up on YouTube. And now that she's been doing that for a while, she's, I think, getting hooked on it. Alright, at some point here I'm gonna have to stop and clean out my pockets. The downside about mods is that when you have a lot of them, eventually you find that you get certain things in your pockets that you're like, I don't have any idea where this came from. Whatever mod it was, is not something I wanted. Uh-oh. In the chapel. Really? Really, guys? Rude.
This should be easy
How
enough.
about you?
How dare you come here?
Show me what you've got.
You'll bleed for this.
Sloppy. As you wish.
Alright. An interesting thing here is that Mother Malal, who you can talk to before everything hits the fan, is not in here.
On it.
We don't see a corpse of her, we don't see any bit of her. And it always makes me wonder if she got away or what the case may be. One of the mods that I've played with before, which is a mod that has lots of you're gonna wait on Dragon Age 2? Oh yeah, I guess if you stick with the anniversary playthrough,
It's
you got a
either
little
you
bit of
or
time.
me, and it isn't going to be me. I love it.
But yeah, there's a mod
You must stop them.
that gives
Here we
a
go.
bunch of addition. It makes a bunch of addition. Wow, I can talk. I swear. A bunch of additional characters into companions, people that normally are not companions, and I forget the name of it off the top of my head. But it makes it so that you can have like
Let's get started.
Cullen and Jowen and Bantegan and just a bunch of people you can make into companions that normally are not. And it's really well done. And one of the things in there is that when, I'm not sure if it's from that one or the Sir Gilmore companion mod, but one of them makes it, I think it's, I'm sorry, I should remember better, but I haven't played with those two mods in a while. But one of them makes it so that his arc, basically his quest that he gives you, is to go and rescue Mother Malal and some of the other captives, which I thought was really cool, to give him that sort of backstory. And let's see here. I like the dog to have lots of decks. I am actually running with a mod called Extra Dog Slot because I love the dog. He's great. But I don't like having to bring him along and have to sacrifice having another character, because I like to have the other characters with me to hear the dialogue and all that kind of good stuff. And so with the Extra Dog Slot mod, it treats the dog basically as a companion, as a like a summoned pet instead of a companion, and so he's always with you even if you have 3 other characters with you, and I like that. Yeah, Julia is saying that she might try to do a Kuzlin playthrough with the Gilmore romance, but it's hard to give up Alistair, and I feel ya. I feel ya. And I'm sure that as we go through, no one will notice that I have a billion Alistair-related mods. Uh-oh. More bad guys! Let's kill them! Don't shoot those other guys! Oh, a mage. Gotta take out the mage.
Bring it on!
I'll kill them all myself.
These creatures home!
There's a lot of
Nothing else to lose. This should be easy enough.
How will pay for what he's done?
He's hiding in the back.
I
Thinks
will
he's gonna
guide
get
you from
away.
all myself.
But no.
Right.
Go, man the gate. Keep those bastards out as long as you can.
Oh, there's our Sir Gilmore.
Your ladyship, my lady, you're both alive. I was certain Howe's men had gotten through.
Well, they did. They did get through. But have you seen Father is a little more important.
He was looking for you two. He told us to hold the hall as long as possible. When I realized what was happening, it was all I could do to shut the gates. But they won't keep Howe's men out long. If you've another way out of the castle, use it quickly.
Where's the Grey Warden?
I've no idea. You don't think he's involved in this, do you?
No, no.
Perhaps he was sent to kill Bryce?
No, no,
Oh
no.
dear. Have you seen him?
When I last saw the Turn, he'd been badly wounded. I urged him not to go, but he was determined to find you. He went towards the kitchen. I believe he thought to find you at the servants' exit in the larder.
Bless you, Sir Gilmore. Make her watch over you.
Make her watch over us all.
This is a mod. You can say goodbye to Sir Gilmore. Ah, armor clipping. Wow, you're really saying goodbye to him. Aww. I actually feel like that mod makes the whole situation a little more poignant, because showing that you have... Yeah, I guess he didn't expect to be kissed like that right in front of Mom, eh? But I feel like it does it.
Right.
She said Sir Gilmore looked a little shell-shocked. Oh, I'm gonna have to empty out my pockets here pretty quick. And yeah, I think he kind of did, but no, what I was gonna say is that it seems like, oh, here we go, that he, get rid of some of these things. I have a mod that gives me a bunch of stuff that I rarely use. It's the one thing, as I mentioned last time, the main thing that I like from this mod is this ability right here, which lets you use the party select screen when you're not leaving camp. and I like that because I like to have it for dialogue. But yeah, it's one of those gifts that makes she said that asked about the love potion number 9. It's from that same mod, and it makes their affection go all the way up. But really, that same ability is in with the Feast Day Gifts and Pranks DLC, official DLC. You can get gifts that will make it so that they, you can play with the approval system that way anyway. But yeah, it has abilities, it has items that will help you change your gender, your class, that will respec, all that kind of stuff. But again, I don't really use most of those. I really only like the one that lets me summon the party. So I'm sure we'll run out of room again soon. But in the meantime, oh, we got one more guy back here. Father is badly wounded. We must hurry and find him. As soon as I make sure I steal everything that I can steal. Did I go out the wrong way? I did go out the wrong way. I always do that. This room, for some reason, gets me really turned around. I don't know why it is. Uh-oh, we're saving. That's always a bad sign. Auto-saves are always a bad sign.
Let's make this quick, shall we?
Oh, thank Hendraste.
Alright. Well, that wasn't so impressive. I know there's a... which one? I don't know that's ringing a bell for me. Just about if I'd ever seen, speaking of Love Potion number 9, asked about an old... Oh, a Sandra Bullock film of that name. I don't think so. I actually am terrible when it comes to having seen movies, because I am not a big movie or TV watcher. Nope, nothing to pick up down here. My entourage follows me as I wander down the hall, because they're like, why are you lost?
Run! Run!
Run! Run!
Elf servant Jowan, getting away there. I have a difficult time with, because the voice of the actor that plays Jowan is very distinctive, and so anytime that you hear another character that he voices, it's always like, well, hello servant Jowan, hello random townsperson Jowan. Oh, here we go. This is why we saved, because there's a big bad down here.
Is it just me, or do you actually think you have a chance?
How dare you! Bring it on!
Come now! Defend yourself!
Oh, definitely. All the various Cullen voices.
I will kill them all myself.
Ouch! That was just rude. He knocked me right over. Yeah, it's funny because I've been playing Elder Scrolls Online lately, and
Let's get started.
a lot of the voice actors pop up. Oh yeah, he's got quite a few.
As you wish.
What's really trippy is that when you get into Awakening, I believe he also plays Anders in Awakening, which then you go on to the second game, or to Dragon Age 2, and it's very odd. But yeah, I think they didn't expect the character of Cullen to become as much a favorite as he was, and we're supposed to go that way, so let me check down the hall here first. That'll be fine. But no, in Elder Scrolls, one especially stands out, because there are a ton of them. There are a lot of times. The character that plays Fenris in Dragon Age 2, Gideon Emery, is just everywhere in Elder Scrolls Online. And one of the places that I tend to park my various alts to do, crafting things, there's a stable master, and in that game you can level up your horse, your mount. Well, not your mount exactly, your riding skill, so you can go faster and all that kind of stuff. And so you can do this once a day, basically, and so you want to hit up the... Oh. She was grumpy, but she was our grumpy nurse. Just because she was a terrible racist, that doesn't mean that she deserved to die like that. Um, but no, the stable master in one of the areas in Somerset is played by Gideon Emery. So every time I go to level my riding skill, it's like, and he's an older grumpy dude, and it's like, hi, Grandpa Fenris. But all right, well, here we are, the moment of truth.
There, you both are. I was
Bryce!
wondering when you would get here.
Maker's blood, what's happening? You're bleeding!
Hal's men found me first. Almost did me in right there.
We need to get you out of here.
I won't survive the standing, I think.
That's not true. You'll be fine.
Ah, my darling girl. If only Will could make it so.
Once Hal's men break through the gate, they will find us. We must go!
Someone must reach Fergus. Tell him what has happened.
I'm in denial. You can tell him yourself, Father.
I wish I could go.
Bryce, no. The servant's passage is right here. We can flee together, find you healing magic.
The castle is surrounded. I cannot make it.
I'm afraid the turn is correct. House men have not yet discovered this exit, but they surround the castle. Getting past will be difficult.
You are Duncan, then? The Grey Warden?
Yes, your ladyship. The turn and I tried to reach you sooner.
My daughter helped me get here. Make her be praised.
I am not surprised.
Are you going to help us, Duncan?
Whatever is to be done now, it must be quick. They are coming.
Duncan, I beg you. Take my wife and daughter to safety.
I will, your lordship, but I fear I must ask for something in return.
Anything.
What is happening here pales in comparison to the evil now loose in this world. I came to your castle seeking a recruit. The Darkspawn that travels across Ferelden.
Honor though that might...
Whoops.
I understand.
I've always felt like I'm always torn about this bit because on the one hand, like, yes, I get that the whole Grey Warden deal is that they will do whatever it takes to fight the Darkspawn, and sometimes that's some pretty bad things. But it always kind of like, man, dude is dying, the castle is surrounded, and you're like, well, I'll help you if... It's like, I don't know, man. It's a little rough. But again, like, it's the whole Grey Warden thing. They do what they have to do. So, anyway, he's saying that he needs a recruit. What about Sir Gilmore?
Truthfully, you were always my first choice. I will take the Tyrna and your daughter to Ostagar, to tell Fergus and the king what happened. Then, your daughter joins the Grey Wardens.
So long as justice comes to Hal. I agree.
Then I offer you a place within the Grey Wardens. Fight with us.
I accept your offer.
We must leave quickly then.
Bryce, are you sure?
Our daughter will not die of Hal's treachery. She will live and make her mark on the world.
Darling, go with Duncan. You have a better chance to escape without me.
Eleanor.
Hush, Bryce. I'll kill every bastard that comes through that door to buy them time. But I won't abandon you.
No matter how many times I play through this, it always gets me. Because she's just like, I will stay here with my husband till the end to do what I can for my daughter. And the fact that she's like, I'll kill every bastard that comes through here is just, I don't know, it gets me. The hairstyle, I'm gonna put all the, Julie asked what hairstyle I have for my Quizland, and I will put all the mods that I'm using online somewhere. I need to do that, I keep forgetting, but yeah, when I do that, I'll put a link there and credit the author and all that good stuff, because I use a ton of mods, but yeah, so she won't leave him. We can find another way, we can fight.
So we all die? No. Your place is now with the Grey Wardens. Mine is with your father, at his side, to death and beyond.
I'm so sorry it's come to this, my love.
We had a good life, and did all we could. It's up to our children now.
Then go, pup. Warn your brother. Know that we love you both. You do us proud.
They've broken through the gates. We must go now.
Goodbye, darling.
I love you. I'll kill Hal for doing this to you. Gosh, everyone she knows. This beginning to me is one of the most. I mean, all of the beginnings, all of the origins have some moving aspects to them. But I feel like this one is probably, to me, is only second to the City Elf for the sheer punch you in the guts.
We will be traveling south through the hinterlands to the ruin of Ostagar, on the edges of the Korkari Wilds. The Tevinter Imperium built Ostagar long ago to prevent the Wilders from invading the northern lowlands. It's fitting we make our stand here, even if we face a different foe within that forest. The King's forces have clashed with the Darkspawn several times, but here is where the bulk of the Horde will show itself. There are only a few Grey Wardens within Ferelden at the moment, but all of us are here. This blight must be stopped, here and now. If it spreads to the north, Ferelden will fall.
Ho there, Duncan.
King Cailan, I didn't expect
A royal welcome? I was beginning to worry you'd miss all the fun.
Not if I could help it, Your Majesty.
Then I'll have the mighty Duncan at my side in battle after all. Glorious.
Oh,
The other
Kaelin.
wardens told me you'd found a promising recruit. I take it this is she?
Allow me to introduce you, Your Majesty.
No need, Duncan. You are Bryce's youngest, are you not? I don't think we've ever actually met.
Yes, I am, and I bring important news.
Is it about your father? Your brother has been concerned about him.
He's not coming. He died when our castle was taken.
Dead? What do you mean? Duncan, do you know anything about this?
Terran Cousland and his wife are dead, Your Majesty. Arl Howe has shown himself a traitor and overtaken Highever Castle.
That bastard.
Had we not escaped, he would have killed us and told you any story he wished.
I can scarcely believe it. Well, how could he think he could get away with such treachery? As soon as we are done here, I will turn my army north and bring Howe to justice. You have my word.
Oh, that's nice, but I don't think you will. Thank you, Your Majesty.
No doubt you wish to see your brother. Unfortunately, he and his men are scouting in the wilds.
I am not eager to tell him, Your Majesty.
Of that, I have no doubt. You will see him again once the battle is over, I am certain. I apologize, but there's nothing more I can do. All I can suggest is that you vent your grief against the Darkspawn for the time being.
So long as Arl Howe pays, I'm happy.
I'm sorry to cut this short, but I should return to my tent. Loghain waits eagerly to bore me with his strategies.
Your uncle sends his greetings and reminds you that Redcliffe forces could be here in less than a week.
Ha! Eamon just wants in on the glory. We've won 3 battles against these monsters, and tomorrow should be no different.
You sound very confident of that.
Overconfident, some would say. Right, Duncan?
Your Majesty, I'm not certain the Blight can be ended quite as quickly as you might wish.
I'm not even sure this is a true blight. There are plenty of Darkspawn on the field, but alas, We've seen no sign of an archdemon.
Alas.
Disappointed, Your Majesty?
I'd hoped for a war like in the tales. A king riding with the fabled Grey Wardens against a tainted god. But I suppose this will have to do. I must go before Loghain sends out a search party. Farewell, Grey Wardens.
I mean...
What the king said is true. They've won several battles against the Darkspawn here.
I mean, Arl Howe is a traitorous jerk, and we're definitely going to look forward to killing him. But when it comes to the whole stuff that he said about Kaelin, not completely wrong. He said he was, you know, more enamored of the Grey Warden legend than he should be, and he clearly is very much... Anytime that someone talks about a war being glorious, that means that they don't understand war. War is not glorious. I haven't... Thank God I have never fought in one myself, but I've done a lot of interviewing for some writing that I've done of talking to people who have been in battles, and it's terrible. You know, the things that people go through so that we don't have to know that those kind of things exist in the world are just... It's amazing that anyone comes through with sanity, in my opinion. And so when you see someone like this, a young, usually man in these games, talking about the glory of battle, it's like, no, dude, it's just not. But yeah, as far as the different prologues, the different origins, I agree that I think that Tabris is the one, the city elf is the one that gets me the most, just because of, primarily because of Shiani and her, what happens to her. And then obviously Kuzlin, because she loses pretty much everyone. But yeah, the mage origin to me is the least sad out of all of them. I mean, yes, on the one hand, the mage is giving up their home, the place that they've lived all their life and that they're familiar with, and they know that someone who has been their friend is now a fugitive and a blood mage and all this kind of bad stuff. But on the other hand, they're getting to do what few mages get to do. They're getting to get out of the tower and go out and live their lives free from the Templars watching them. So I mean, I always feel like the mage origin is almost more of a reward than a calamity. But yeah, the other ones, the Dalish origin is rough in that they lose Tamlin, who they may or may not, you know, they obviously are friends with. They may be something more than friends, depending on how you play it. Oh, I guess I should say this might be spoilers, but I'm thinking at this point for a game that came out in 2009, anybody watching this has probably heard a little bit about them all. But yeah, that part of it is sad, and the fact that they have to leave their clan, but their clan is still okay. They're not, nothing happened to them. So, I mean, a lot of those are like that, where they're losing something, but it's not anywhere near the scope of these two characters, in my opinion. But yes, mages are very fun. Although I have to say, in playing the Dragon Age tabletop RPG, we learned very quickly that playing a mage in that makes life a lot more complicated, because your character is not a if your character is not a Grey Warden, which at the beginning you can't be, and you're not in a tower, then anytime you use one of your abilities, you are running the chance of getting captured and everyone freaking out and declaring you a Maleficar and all kinds of bad things. So it makes it a lot more challenging to be a mage in that sense. So it's interesting. But this part right here, the speech that we just came into, is the part where all of the origins join into one. So you have all these different characters that start in all these different places, and bad things happen that make them have to leave, and Duncan's like, okay, well, you're coming with me. And then they all come here to this part, and then the game progresses from there. So he says what the king said is true. They've won several battles. Yet you don't sound very reassured.
Despite the victory so far, the Darkspawn horde grows larger with each passing day. By now, they look to outnumber us. I know there is an archdemon behind this, but I cannot ask the king to act solely on my feeling.
Julia says the tabletop game sounds interesting, and it really is. It's actually really, really fun. I got to do a live stream one-shot of it for Dragon Age Day last winter, and it was super fun. Highly recommended. He can't ask the king to act solely on my feeling. Why not? He seems to regard the Grey Wardens highly.
Yet not enough to wait for reinforcements from the Grey Wardens of Orlais. He believes our legend alone makes him invulnerable. Our numbers in Ferelden are too few. We must do what we can, and look to Teyrn Loghain to make up the difference. To that end, we should proceed with the joining ritual without delay.
What do you mean? What ritual?
Every recruit must go through a secret ritual we call the joining in order to become a Grey Warden. The ritual is brief, but some preparation is required. We must begin soon.
Why is this ritual so secret?
The joining is dangerous. I cannot speak more of it except to say that you will learn all in good time. Until then, you must trust that what is done is necessary.
Well, that's a bit ominous. I need to find Fergus.
You heard what the king said. He is scouting in the wilds and beyond contact. Be patient. He will return.
Okay. Am I the only recruit you have?
No, there are 2 other recruits here already. They have been waiting for us to arrive.
What do you need me to do?
Feel free to explore the camp here as you wish. All I ask is that you do not leave it for the time being. There is another Grey Warden in the camp by the name of Alistair. When you're ready, seek him out and tell him it's time to summon the other recruits. Your hound can stay with me while I attend to some business. The Grey Warden tent is on the other side of this bridge. You will find us there should you need to.
So we have reached Ostagar. And we have leveled up. I don't tend to put a lot of points in strength because I don't like to be in range of getting punched in the face, but if you don't have enough, you can't wear certain armor, so... Oh good, more coercion. Always, always the coercion. And lockpicking. Hooray! So, we have a new codex entry. We probably have a few of them at this point. We will not do them all at once here, though. So, the Korcari Wilds. It is said that in the midst of the Black Age, when werewolves stalked the lands of Ferelden in numbers that kept every farmholder indoors and a hound on every doorstep, a powerful Arl of the Alamari peoples stood and declared that he would put an end to the threat. His Arling stood on the border of the Dark Forest on the southern border of the Ferelden Valley, and he claimed that the werewolves used the forest to launch their midnight assaults on humanity. For 20 years, this Arl led an army of warriors and hounds deep into the forest. In his hunt for the werewolves, he slew not only every wolf he came upon, but also every member of the chastened wilder folk. Any one of them, he said, could harbor a demon inside and thus be a werewolf in disguise. For 20 years, the forest rang with screams and the rivers ran red. The tales say that an old chastened woman found her sons all dead at the Arl's blades. She pulled one of those very blades from one son's heart and plunged it into her own chest, cursing the Arl's name as she did so. Where her blood touched the ground, a mist began to ride. It spread and spread until it was everywhere in the forest. The Arl's army became lost, and it is said they died there. Others say they wander still. The ruins of his Arling stand to this day, filled with the ghosts of women waiting eternally for their husbands to return. The forest of the legend is, of course, the Korkari Wilds. There are as many legends about the great southern forest as there are shadows, or so the saying goes. The chastened wilder folk have made their homes there since mankind first came to these lands, and the wildlands spread as far into the south as anyone has ventured. Beyond the mists are vast tracts of snow, white-capped mountains, and entire fields of ice. It is a land too cold for mankind to survive, yet the chastened eke out an existence even there, and they tell of horrors beyond the wilds that the lowland folk could not begin to comprehend. To most, Ferelden simply ends with the Korkari Wilds. There is nothing beyond. The wilds is a land of great trees, wet marshes, and dangerous monsters. What more need be said? From The Land of the Wilders by Mother Alis, Chantry Scholar. If I am recalling correctly, Mother Alis is actually in the beginning of the novel The Stolen Throne, which is interesting. She has an interesting role to play there. Let's see, we've got Politics of Ferelden. To our neighbors, Ferelden seems utterly chaotic. Unlike other monarchies, power does not descend from our throne. Rather, it rises from the support of the freeholders. Each freehold chooses the ban or Arl to whom it pays allegiance. Typically, this choice is based on proximity of the freehold to the lord's castle, as it's worthless to pay for the upkeep of soldiers who will arrive at your land too late to defend it. For the most part, each generation of freeholders casts its lot with the same ban as their fathers did, but things can and do change. No formal oaths are sworn, and it is not unheard of, especially in the prickly center Banorn, for bands to court freeholders away from their neighbors, a practice which inevitably begets feuds that last for ages. Tairns arose from among the bands. Tairns arose from amongst the bands, war leaders who, in antiquity, had grown powerful enough to move other bands to swear fealty to them. There were many Tairns in the days before King Calenhad, but he succeeded in whittling them down to only two, Gwarin in the south, Highever in the north. These Tairns still hold the oaths of bands and Arls who they may call upon in the event of war or disaster, and similarly, the Tairns still hold responsibility for defending those sworn to them. The Arls were established by the Tairns, given command of strategic fortresses that could not be overseen by the Tairns themselves. Unlike the Tairns, the Arls have no bands sworn to them, and are simply somewhat more prestigious bands. The king is, in essence, the most powerful of the Tairns. Although Denerim was originally the Tairnir of the king, it has since been reduced to an Arling, as the king's domain is now all of Ferelden. But even the king's power must come from the bands. Nowhere is this more evident than during the Landsmeet, an annual council for which all the nobles of Ferelden gather, held for almost 3,000 years, except odd interruptions during blights and invasions. The sight of a king asking for, and working to win, the support of lesser men is a sort of constant wonder to foreign ambassadors. This one's also from Sister Patrine, who we read some of her stuff yesterday. And Highever. Castle Highever has stood since the Divine Age, when it was not an independent Banorn, but merely an outpost of the growing Banorn of Amaranthine, in the days before Amaranthine became an Arling itself. The outpost of Highever was originally held by the Elston family, cousins of the Howes. In the Age of Towers, however, Ban Conobar Elston was murdered by his wife Flemeth. Important name to remember. Thus ending the bloodline. Conobar's captain of the guard, Sarum Kuzland, took the lands and title. The Kuzlands declared their independence from Amaranthine, starting a war that lasted 30 years. When the dust settled, Highever was on its own and in possession of half the land that had once been southwestern Amaranthine. Highever became a Tairnir. I think I read this yesterday. Oh well, we're mostly through it now. I keep saying yesterday. Monday. Highever became a Tairnir during the Black Age when Halia Kuzland gathered the lords together under her banner to drive the werewolves out of their lands, earning herself the title of Tairna almost as an afterthought. Today, Highever is one of only two remaining Tairnirs, making the Kuzland family second in rank only to the king. The Kuzland family, however, was all but wiped out in an unexpected attack by Arl Howe of Amaranthine, and the fate of the Tairnir is now in question. Ah, that's why it registered as a new one. That little bit got added onto the end. Yeah. We've got more in there, but I don't want to read more than a few at once. So, back this way is the way that we came. And if we poke around in here, there's a few things. There's some elf fruit. Remember our mantra. Can never have too much elf fruit. And we'll poke around down here. Nothing terribly exciting. But in the interests of being thorough, which to me is part of the point of playing RPGs. Uh-oh. It's not going to let me pick this up. Never mind. We won't be that thorough because all my stuff is full. I think it probably gave me that. I gotta at some point figure out which mod. Okay, Julia, thanks. Yeah, I'm not sure what mod it is that gives me a few of these things that are things that I don't want, but huh. Interesting. Let's see. Oh no, I guess that stuff didn't come back, but the other things probably did. That is the downside of that. Oh no, it didn't. I just have that much stuff. Well, never mind. This is a Formari Tome, which gives you a skill point, so you have to use it and then close out, and it will give you a leveling point. I am not entirely sure which mod I have that gave me that, but here we are. And I'm just basically, I keep doing that. I'm trying to make room in my inventory here. Attributes. Why not? Oops. See, this is what happens when I'm playing too many games at the same time. I keep going to hit the button that I think is going to do a thing, and it's not the button that does the thing. So, excuse me. Let's go with one more in strength and one in dex and cunning. Why not? Alright. Well, normally I would poke around and gather things out here, but to be honest, there's nothing terribly momentous. There's nobody really to talk to, and our pockets are full. So we're just going to go ahead and go back. Actually, I'm going to unlock. There's a chest over here that I'm going to unlock just for the sake of unlocking it, but I probably won't be able to take whatever's in it. Oh, never mind. It's a deep mushroom. Ooh, we almost missed elf fruit. Okay. Let's go onward, shall we? We're approaching the point of the game that is one of the only things that I clearly remember from the first time I played. And this is going to make me sound like the biggest goofy fangirl ever in history. But, I mean, truth is truth. So one of the things that I remember about the first playthrough is getting to the point of meeting Alistair.
Hail, you must be the Grey Warden recruit that Duncan brought.
Hail, what's up?
This place hasn't seen such bustle in centuries, I'll wager. Need a hand getting anywhere?
Where is Duncan's tent?
Not far. It's straight ahead, just past the royal encampment. Most of your fellas
Hi.
are in the valley with the army, but the recruits seem to be staying up here for now.
I'm looking for a Grey Warden named Alistair.
Try heading north. I think he was sent with a message to the mages.
Tell me about Ostagar. Spot check history lesson.
Used to be a fortress long time ago, so I understand. Back in the days when the Wilders used to invade the lowlands. You were just on the eastern side of the ruin. The Tower of Ishal is there, but Tairn Logain's closed it off until the battle. This side is the King's camp. We've got the Grey Wardens here, the Circle of Magi, the Chantry. You can't swing a dead cat without hitting somebody important.
Is there anywhere to get supplies?
Quartermaster, he's just a bit to the northwest.
Where's the king?
Probably in his tent. He and Tairn Logain are on the southwest side of the camp. The king likes to spend time with his soldiers, though. Sometimes even without his bodyguards. Drives Tairn Logain wild, that does.
This guy's chatty, isn't he? The Circle of Magi is here?
A few mages, yes. They even brought those creepy quiet fellows, the Tranquil. Gives me the shivers when they talk, all cold and even. They're to the north of here, bunched up with a herd of Templars glaring at them. Can't miss it.
A herd of Templars glaring at them. I always like that line. Do I hear dogs barking?
This is Ferelden, isn't it?
Fair
The
point.
king has his kennels on the west side of camp. Stinks from all the hounds. These aren't cute puppies, though. Some of those dogs bite the darkspawn and get too much of that blood in them. It's like poison. Slow, painful death. Terrible.
I want to ask you something else.
Go on, then.
Never mind, I don't actually want to ask you anything else. I'll just be going now.
Good luck to you, then.
Thanks, Chatty McChatterson. Let's see. Ostagar, representing the furthest point of encroachment by the ancient Tevinter Imperium into the barbarian lands of the southeast, the fortress of Ostagar was once one of the most important defensive holdings south of the Waking Sea. It stood at the edge of the Korkari wilds, watching for any signs of invasion by the barbarians known today as the Chastened Wilders. Straddling a narrow pass in the hills, the fortress needed to be bypassed to reach the fertile lowlands to the north, and proved to be exceedingly difficult for the Wilders to attack because of its naturally defensible position. Like most imperial holdings in the south, Ostagar was abandoned after Tevinter's collapse during the First Blight. It was successfully sacked by the Chastened Wilders, and then, as the Chastened threat dwindled following the creation of the modern Ferelden nation, fell to ruin completely. It has remained unmanned for 4 centuries, though most of the walls still stand, as does the tall Tower of Ishal, named after the great Archon that ordered its construction. Ostagar remains a testament to the magical power of the Imperium that created it. From Sister Petrine. Ooh, Darkspawn. Those who had sought to claim heaven by violence destroyed it. What was golden and pure turned black. Those who had once been mage lords, the brightest of their age, were no longer men, but monsters. From the Canticle of Threnodies. From the Chant of Light, in case that's not painfully obvious, which is the main... Well, I don't know that it's necessarily a book, it's a chant that is followed by the chant tree, logically enough. So, this is their outlook on the creation of the Darkspawn. Sin was the midwife that ushered the Darkspawn into this world. The Magisters fell from the Golden City, and their fate encompassed all our worlds, for they were not alone. No one knows where the Darkspawn come from, a dark mockery of men. In the darkest places they thrive, growing in numbers as a plague of locusts will. In raids they will often take captives, dragging their victims alive into the deep roads. But most evidence suggests that these are eaten. Ew. Like spiders, it seems Darkspawn prefer their food still breathing. Perhaps they are simply spawned by the darkness. Certainly we know that evil has no trouble perpetuating itself. The last blight was in the Age of Towers, striking once again at the heart of Tevinter, spreading south into Orlais and east into the Free Marches. The plagues spread as far as Ferelden, but the withering and twisting of the land stopped well beyond our borders. Here, Darkspawn have never been more than the stuff of legends. In the northern lands, however, particularly Tevinter and the Anderfells, they say Darkspawn haunt the hinterlands, preying on outlying farmers and isolated villages, a constant threat, Sister Petrine says. So, I'll call that good for now. Let's go find some important people with whom you can't turn without swinging a dead cat. Or hit without swinging a dead cat, he said. Here's this guy. The King's personal guard.
Greetings. King Kalen is not in his tent right now.
So, tell me about the King. You must see him a lot.
I suppose I do, though he's spending most of his time with the Grey Wardens. He rides with them wherever they go, in fact. Teyrn Loghain sees the King whenever he can and argues with him over coming battles, but the King just waves him off. The King wants to end the Blight with a single huge battle the bards will sing of for centuries. Do you think that's possible?
I have my doubts.
That's how the Teyrn feels. He'll do what the King wants in the end, though.
Oh, yeah?
The King thought it was funny that Teyrn called him reckless, and they fought about the Queen.
The Queen?
She's the Teyrn's daughter.
Well, yeah.
He wasn't happy about something she did or the King did, I'm not sure. I probably shouldn't discuss it.
And the infamous BioWare conversation ender, I should go.
As you wish.
Let's go bother another important person. This guy's less friendly.
You approach the tent of Tairn Loghain. State your business.
State your business. Tell me about Tairn Loghain.
How can you not know of
I
Loghain?
didn't say I don't know of him.
He helped free Ferelden.
Well, yeah.
He was the brains behind King Maric's armies and drove out those damned Orlesians. King Maric rewarded him by making him a Tairn. Can you imagine? A commoner became a high nobleman just like that. Without Loghain, you can bet the king wouldn't be winning against these Darkspawn.
That's not exactly what I meant. I wanted to know, like, is he chill? Does he seem like a cool guy? But, you know, whatever, dude. Is the Tairn inside? What is he doing?
He's inside, but I don't think it's my place to discuss his activities.
Come on. Surely you could tell me a little bit about him.
I suppose, as long as we talk quietly. He and the king have been arguing for days. The Tairn's known the king since he was swaddled, so they don't stand on ceremony. The Tairn speaks his mind, and the king yells right back. Personally, I think the king should do what Tairn Loghain tells him. Without the Tairn, we wouldn't be doing as well here as we are.
I would like an audience with the Tairn, please.
I suppose you have a message for him?
Sure, we'll go with that.
Hold on, then.
Yes, what is it? Oh, you're Duncan's new Grey Warden, I assume.
Yes, I am.
Kaelin's fascination with the Wardens goes beyond the ordinary. Are you aware his father brought your order back to Ferelden?
Yes, I've heard that.
Maric respected the Grey Wardens. They have an honored place in the hearts of our people. But Maric would have understood that it takes more than legends to win a battle. That's not an argument I'll repeat here. You look familiar. Have I seen you at the Landsmeet?
My father was the Tairn of Highever.
The king told me of his promise. I'm certain he has every intention of following it through. I don't suppose you'll be riding into the thick of battle with the rest of your fellows, will you?
I don't know.
If Kaelin has his way, you will. Now I must return to my task. Pray that our king proves amenable to wisdom, if you're the praying sort.
You don't seem very fond of him.
He is Maric's son, and the leader of my beloved Ferelden, and a very young man. I try to keep that in mind, as should you.
Whatever, cranky pants. There's... the character of Loghain is interesting in that he is very complex, and I won't go too much into it yet at this point, but he is a very interesting character. Let's see, where do we want to go first? Where we want to go first is to empty out our pockets, actually. Here is the
He shall not find you wanting.
Mother of the
Go not into
Chantry.
death gladly, but with the knowledge that evil has been held at bay by your spilled blood. And if you go to stand beside the Maker, go with our blessing, for you shall not be forgotten.
Well, that's
My
comforting.
friends, let us bow our
If she's
heads
here
and
to give
remember those who
comforting
have
words
fallen
to those
and
guys,
those who
she's have
doing
a
yet to
bang
fall.
up job. Alright. Oh look, it's Wynne. Let's talk to Wynne.
Greetings, young lady. You are Duncan's newest recruit, are you not? He's not a man easily impressed. You should be proud. Allow me to introduce myself. I am Wynne, one of the mages summoned by the king.
Pleased to meet you.
Well met, and good luck to you on the battlefield. To us all, in fact.
King Kaelin thinks the battle will go well.
The king must always seem confident. His behavior affects the troops' morale. He does seem to find his enthusiasm easily, though. Reminds me of a puppy. And I say that with both respect and affection. He is a fine man. To defeat the Darkspawn, we have to work together. It's not an idea everyone seems able to grasp.
Do you know much about Darkspawn?
Some. Do you? Do you know about the connection between them and the Fade, for example?
I know the Fade is where you go when you dream.
Anytime your spirit leaves your earthly body, whether it's to dream or to die, It passes into the realm we call the Fade. It's home to many spirits, some benevolent, others far less so. At the heart of the Fade lies the Black City.
It's, you know, when you've played the game a lot and you're familiar with the lore, it is difficult sometimes. Like, I know that this is the beginning of the game and they're trying to do the exposition and explain to people what the Chantry is, what the Darkspawn are, and that's why you have some of this dialogue. But when you stop and think, okay, this is a character that is the daughter of one of the most powerful families in Ferelden. There's a Chantry chapel in her house, and one of your options is, what's the Black City? It's a little immersion breaking in that sense, but I get that it's part of the whole exposition thing. It's just amusing when you've played it more than once. Especially with responses like this. The Fade lies the Black City. I've heard that. Didn't something bad happen there?
Some say the Black City was once the seat of the Maker. But when the mages from the Tevinter Imperium found a way into the city, it was tainted with their sin. That taint transformed those men, turning them into twisted reflections of their own hearts. And the Maker cast them back to the Earth, where they became the first Darkspawn. At least that's what the Chant of Light says.
Hey Julia, yeah, my computer specs are actually on the Twitch page, down below the window in the information, so they are all listed there. So hopefully that might help you. Let's see. So that's what the Chant of Light says. The Chantry says many things.
It may be allegory, meant to teach us that our own evil causes human suffering. Or it may be true. It is as good an explanation as any for now.
At least it's something to ponder.
Yes, occasionally it's wise to contemplate one's actions. But I'm certain Duncan has more for you to do than talk to me.
Maker above.
I can never
Hear the
be mean
prayers
to
of your
Wynn.
sons
I
and
I
daughters.
love Wynn.
We who
She's
betrayed your
one of my
prophet
favorites.
Andraste now beg your forgiveness.
As much as it cracks me up that they have her all the time being like, talking about how she's so old and doesn't have much time left, and when you look at the timeline information that's given elsewhere, she's like 50. She's like at death's door.
The mages must not be interrupted.
They're busy doing a ceremonial dance, clearly. They cannot be interrupted. Yeah, 48. So, yeah, and anytime I hear that, it's like, wow, okay. Clearly these folks, that when they wrote this, were a lot younger than 48. I'm unfortunately not a lot younger than 48, and hearing her talking about, you know, I haven't got many years left is like, yeah, thanks for that. Awesome, thanks for that, Win.
So, any last wishes I can help fulfill before you head into battle? Life is fleeting, you know. That pretty face could be decorating some darkspawn spear this time tomorrow. Shall I take that quiet glare as a no? Oh, well, too bad.
Ah, Daveth.
Well, you're not what I thought you'd be.
What did you think I'd be?
Not a woman, yet here you are. The name's Daveth. It's about bloody time you came along. I was beginning to think they cooked this ritual up just for our benefit.
Yeah, I watched. I'm not sure if I saw that specific one. Julia has a playthrough of all of the Origins game that's on YouTube, and I watched a bunch of them, but I am having a hard time remembering right at the moment. But yeah, there are a lot of mods to change Wynn's appearance to make her look a little bit more like the age she should be, and all I've really changed is I've, you know, some of the basic mods that sort of spruce up everyone, and then I myself went in and changed her hairstyle just because the weird little ponytail doesn't do it for me, so I changed it to a bun hairstyle. So, but yeah, I try not to change the character designs too much so that they're still, so it's still easy to go, okay, yeah, that's so and so. But you know, I have to change some things because I just do. So yeah, it says so starting to think they cooked this ritual up just for our benefit. Isn't that a little paranoid?
That depends on what kind of life you've led. Me, I'm perfectly willing to accept that this joining is some kind of punishment. I happened to be sneaking around camp last night, see, and I heard a couple of Grey Wardens talking. So, I listened in for a bit. I'm thinking they plan to send us into the wilds.
So what? That wouldn't frighten me.
Cannibals, beasts, witches, and now Darkspawn. What isn't to be scared of? It's all too secretive for me. Makes my nose twitch. I guess we'll have to wait and see. Like we have a choice.
They're forcing you to be here.
I've got nowhere else to go after what Duncan saved me from. Anyway, I expect it's time to get back to Duncan. That's where I'll be if you need me for anything.
Yeah, I kind of pick and choose with the head morphs. Julia's saying that she did a lot of head morphs herself for her playthrough, and I kind of pick and choose among a lot of different mods for mine. I didn't tend to make a lot of them from scratch, but to sort of, you know, cherry pick the ones I like the most from a lot of different mods is what I went with. Getting mods all to play nice together is always a challenge.
Have you seen an elf running about? Young woman, red hair, carrying a suit of chain.
Can't say I have, no.
Blast it. Where did she go? That suit better be patched up when she gets back, or by the maker up. Oh, pardon my manners. My troubles are no concern of yours, I'm sure. I'm the quartermaster. Did you come for supplies?
What kind of supplies do you have?
Arms and armor, for the most part. It's for the King's men, but you Grey Wardens can buy what you need for a modest price. I also have some goods on the side I can provide. Strictly off the record, of course, to keep morale up, you understand.
I see. Let me see what you have.
Let me know what you'd like.
What I'd like is to sell you a bunch of junk that I don't need, so it's not in my pockets anymore. So, first I'll look through and see if he has anything super cool that I want. Enough to pay money for it, which he probably doesn't. I rarely buy gear from merchants, just because you get so much of it as drops, and I just don't care that much. Plus, the mod that I have that gives you the Grey Warden armor, that is usually pretty solid, and I like it, so I don't tend to change out of it a lot, so... Alright, nothing that I need here, but I do need this. Interesting thing about this is that if you buy this backpack now, and then after you go into the wilds and come back, you stop at the quartermaster again, you can buy it from him again. Not the same one, but he restocks it. He has a backpack again, which is very much worth it, because every bit of extra inventory space you can get is always good, because, as I said before, I pick up everything. If it's not nailed down, I pick it up. Really? Okay, let's see here. Let's sell off some lesser lyrium potions, because I am not a mage. And I don't really use them, and I don't really use traps. I tend to play very straightforward, so, you know, it goes along with that whole thing. Alright, so now we've sold enough junk that I can actually buy the backpack. Really? Ugh. Oh, I still have too much stuff. Alright, well. In the meantime, I'll sell off all these things. I can't sell the family sword. That just wouldn't be right. These are just ceremonial blades. That's not the same. And that's just a regular mace. Yeah, his backpacks are definitely more economical. We'll call it that. I don't think we need these. Well, we might hang on to them. We'll see. For now. Get rid of some of this junk here. So... generally speaking, if it's just a plain item that doesn't have any special qualities, it tends to be vendored for me. So, I don't think I need her noble attire anymore. This is going to be good when I get enough strength to wear it, which I unfortunately do not have yet. Alright. Make a little more room. Now we'll buy the backpack. Get a little bit more room. And things like this that are just stones, there is a purpose that you can use them for later, for basically building up your forces, but for now, at this point, I usually just kind of sell them. So we're good there. Don't want to sell any of that stuff. Don't really want to sell any of that stuff except for these, because they don't do anything except sparkle, and that's just not what we're looking for. Ah, that helped a little. Alright, we're good for now. Now, I could go around and talk to more people. Alright, I'll go talk to Jory first. I'll put off...
In the name of Andraste, I bless you today. May you find favor in the Maker's eyes. So let it be.
Greetings. You must be the third recruit we've heard about.
I am. Who are you?
Sir Jury is my name. I hail from Redcliffe, where I served as knight under the command of Arl Aemon. I was not aware they permitted women to join the Grey Wardens. None of those I've seen thus far have been.
Perhaps they saved the best for last.
You obviously impressed Duncan, and that's enough for me. I hope we're both lucky enough to eventually join the Wardens. Is it not thrilling to be given that chance?
I'm curious about the joining ritual.
As am I. Has anyone told you about it?
It's all a big secret, apparently.
I never heard of such a ritual. I had no idea there were more tests after getting recruited. I suppose since you're finally here, I'd best get back to Duncan. I shall see you there.
He always kind of gets on my nerves. I'm not a big fan of Sir Jory. If you try to talk to some of these guys, they'll be like, hey!
If you'll excuse me, we are praying.
I'm trying to pray. Rude.
Ah, I suspect you are one of the new Grey Wardens. Will you accept the Maker's blessing?
Sure. I have a feeling I'll need all the blessing I can get.
Then I bless you, Grey Warden, in the name of Andraste and the Maker above. May the chant of light carry your name to the ears of our Lord.
Alright. I just wonder what the story is with this guy over here. Is it this one? This one.
I can feel it inside me.
I don't know. I guess he's not chatty yet. Maybe it's later. Oh, I suppose I should go over here and talk to this dude.
Huh. Someone finally comes and talks to the lone prisoner. I don't suppose you've come to sentence me?
You haven't been sentenced.
No. They put someone like me in a cage until someone important has time to decide what to do with me. I don't suppose you have a bit of kindness in you? All I want is food and water. They haven't fed me since I was locked up and I'm starving.
Tell me why you're in there first.
I'm a deserter. Or so they think. I bet there's no arguing them out of it, though. Armies are funny that way.
And I bet you're as innocent as the sunrise.
I wasn't deserting. But when you catch someone sneaking around camp in the middle of the night, what else are you gonna think? Does it matter? All I want is a bit of food and water.
If you weren't deserting, why sneak around the camp?
Oh, I would have deserted eventually. Just not then. I was stealing, not sneaking out of the camp. I got one of those wizards drunk and took his key. It belongs to a chest they got here, full of magical treasures. In fact, I still have it. I can't use it from here, but I'd trade you for some food and water.
They didn't find the key when you were arrested?
I swallowed it. But it's, come back into my possession since then, so to speak.
Ew. That's disgusting.
Yeah, well... Do you want the key or not?
I'll see what I can do.
Just ask my guard for his. He's still got some dinner. I saw him put it in his coat.
I go to all this work to get a poo key, I don't know.
Lucky dog. You Grey Wardens get to ride with the king while I'm left with the drudgery of guarding this deserter. They should have just hanged him. Put his head on a pike as an example.
Seems a waste for you to guard him all day.
I can't just let him go, can I? The army will figure out what to do with him. Probably just waiting for someone important to make a decision. Then they'll hang him, I expect. And I can go and do something else.
Who is this prisoner?
They say he was recruited before the war up in Dinnerham. Probably figured he'd never have to fight if he served the king, right?
I had a chat with him, actually.
Don't expect it was an enlightening conversation.
He asked for some food and water.
Did he now? Since nobody sends me nothing to feed him with, the only way we'll get that is if I give him mine.
So you miss one meal. This man could be hanged soon.
All right, all right. I guess the poor fella could stand to have one meal in his belly before he hangs. Don't know why you care. I had nothing to do with it, though. If anyone asks why he's burping, I'm gonna say it was you. Just so you know.
I feel like they're all gonna have bigger things to think about pretty quick here.
So? Brought me some food, have you? I'm so hungry I could faint dead away.
Here's some food.
Much obliged. May Andraste herself rain blessings upon you. And, as I mentioned, here's the key.
Ew.
Use it in good health, huh?
Ew. I take the key delicately with a cloth around it. Ew. Okay, that's all that, and this dude over here gonna scream and yell yet? No. Let's go down here and talk to the Ash Warriors. And then we should meet up with Alistair right about as we're gonna be done for the day here.
You there, elf. What's your name?
It's Pick, sir.
Hi, Colin.
Go tell Tern Logain that the war party's ready to begin scouting. We'll send word if we find anything amiss.
Yes, sir. Right away, sir.
Yes, this would be one of the characters that you were mentioning, Julia, about that have the same voices as Cullen, the Greg Ellis voiced characters.
What do you need? You haven't brought more instructions from the Tern, I hope.
Do you talk to everyone like that?
If I feel like it. If you're not from the town, what do you want? We're busy.
You don't look like the other soldiers in the army.
We aren't. We're Ash Warriors.
But you're obviously not made of ash.
Do you take everything so literally?
Only when it's
Our
funny.
training has been passed down since Lathias the Dwarf Son first harnessed the battle rage of the dwarves. It is an old tale.
Can I hear this old tale?
I am no bard, but I will do my best. Lathias was a Clane tribesman. Some said he was too short to be a warrior, but he was strong and fierce. His chieftain sent him to the dwarves of Orzammar to negotiate an alliance, where he fell in love with the king's daughter, Skya, and brought her back to his tribe. She taught Lathias to use the dwarven battle wrath to summon his strength and ignore all pain. Lathias then taught this to the Clane, who made him their chieftain.
And they feasted on blood and lived happily ever after?
Not in this tale, friend. Lathias' prowess earned him the love of Morrigannon, a beautiful chieftain of another tribe. When Skya learned of his seduction, she returned to her people. Lathias was grieved. He sent Morrigannon away, but this only vexed her, and began a long war between their tribes. In the end, Lathias slew Morrigannon in single combat. However, his wounds were great, and he perished when the rage ended. The dwarves came from Orzammar that day, and gave Lathias an honored burial in the mountains. And we live by his teachings even today.
An interesting note is that the Morrigannon that he's talking about is actually the daughter of Tyrda Brightaxe, who is a character that you learn about in Dragon Age Inquisition. There's a bunch of poetry scattered around the hinterlands about her life, and this Morrigannon in this tale is her daughter. So what happened to his wife, Skya?
It is said that before the final battle, she returned to Lathias and gave him a shirt of dwarven chain, along with a final night of passion. Then she was gone forever. If she lived on in Orzammar, only the dwarven folk could say for certain.
So he betrayed his wife and killed his lover.
He was a great man with great passions. Perhaps you'll hear a more inspiring version in a tavern someday.
So what does an Ash Warrior do?
We harness the rage inside us, nurture it, and draw it out so we cannot fall in battle until our last foe is slain. It is a dwarven discipline, but we've adapted it to let us fight alongside our hounds. That is our way. I trust my hound with my life, as he trusts me with his.
As it should be. I have a Mabari hound of my own.
Then you are most fortunate. A trained Mabari hound is as dangerous as any sword. We do not speak of a city pet, or those things that sit in an old woman's lap.
Why have you painted your dogs?
They use scent to distinguish us from our enemies, but the blood of battle can confuse them. So we paint ourselves with caddis, which overpowers the blood, and also paint our hounds so they know we are the same.
What if the enemy is painted with caddis as well?
Why? Would you steal our caddis and give it to the Darkspawn hordes?
I hope you're joking.
If you tried, we would kill you. And that is no joke.
Rude. I should be going.
My thanks. There is hunting to be done, and I'll not be kept from it.
Okay, and we'll talk to this guy.
Excuse me, I must get the hounds ready for battle. Half the dogs are sick from Darkspawn blood. It's terrible.
I forgot that when you are playing the noble, you don't get the... when you're playing someone who is not the human noble, who does not have their own Mabari, this guy has a quest to introduce you to this sick Mabari. And you can get some herbs from the forest to heal him, and that's how you get your own Mabari later in the game. But when you're a noble, you already have yours, so... I always feel a little odd talking to the Tranquil. I kind of agree with the guy at the gate. They do give you the creeps.
Welcome, young woman.
Who are you?
I am one of the Tranquil, my friend. I am of the Circle of Magi. But instead of casting spells and reading tomes, I spend my time enchanting. It is a time-consuming process, but invaluable. Enchantment provides the Circle its wealth. Certainly we would not get by on charity.
I have a mod that adds the branding on the forehead, because in the later games that's explained that the forehead brand is how the Tranquil are made tranquil. And in this game, the original graphics do not have it. So I feel like it's, I don't know, lacking if it's not there. So, you speak very strangely. Why is that?
Allow me to put it this way. Do you know why those with magical talent are feared?
Because magic is powerful and dangerous.
It is dangerous beyond its power. Those with magical talent attract demons and spirits. We can be possessed easily, and thus become horrors known as abominations. Even those with minor talents attract hungry spirits. Anyone with the power may learn blood magic from these demons. Hence, we are considered dangerous. This is our curse. Thus, I was made tranquil, stripped of emotions and talent. I am no longer dangerous.
That sounds like a horrid practice.
It might seem such to you, but I feel no horror.
You don't feel anything.
I am content to serve in my role.
I feel badly for you.
You do? I feel nothing. As the name suggests, my existence is quite peaceful. I am alive, productive, and no danger to anyone. Surely that is not a terrible thing. Perhaps we may speak of something else. Do you need assistance?
Nah.
Goodbye.
I have a former Templar to meet up here. I've held off long enough. This is actually one of the things that I remember clearly from my very first playthrough.
What is it now? Haven't Grey Wardens asked more than enough of the Circle?
I simply came to deliver a message from the revered mother, Sir Mage. She desires your presence.
What her reverence desires is of no concern to me. I am busy helping the Grey Wardens, by the King's orders, I might add.
Should I have asked her to write a note?
Tell her I will not be harassed in this manner.
Yes, I was harassing you by delivering a message.
Your glibness does you no credit.
Here I thought we were getting along so well. I was even going to name one of my children after you. The Grumpy One.
Enough. I will speak to the woman if I must. Get out of my way, fool.
You know, one good thing about the Blight is how it brings people together.
I think what struck me the most about meeting Alistair on my first playthrough is that he's funny. And I love that. It's like, obviously they made him to be an attractive character, and that's cool, but what really, to me, makes him such a great character is his humor, the way that he uses humor to cope with things, the way that he seems to be able to find his humor in most situations, and not get bitter about what life has given him, which is pretty amazing to me. So, you are a very strange man.
You're not the first woman to tell me that. Wait, we haven't met, have we? I don't suppose you happen to be another mage?
Would that make your day worse?
Hardly. I just like to know my chances of being turned into a toad at any given moment. Wait, I do know who you are. You're Duncan's new recruit, from Highever. I should have recognized you right away. I apologize.
And you must be Alistair.
Did Duncan mention me? Nothing bad, I hope. As the junior member of the Order, I'll be accompanying you when you prepare for the joining.
Pleased to meet you. My name is River.
Right, that was the name. You know, it just occurred to me that there have never been many women in the Grey Wardens. I wonder why that is.
You want more women in the Grey Wardens, do you?
Would that be so terrible? Not that I'm some drooling lecher or anything. Please stop looking at me like that. So I'm curious. Have you ever actually encountered Darkspawn before?
No, I haven't.
When I fought my first one, I wasn't prepared for how monstrous it was. I can't say I'm looking forward to encountering another. Anyhow, whenever you're ready, let's get back to Duncan. I imagine he's eager to get things started.
That argument I saw, what was it about?
With the mage. The Circle is here at the King's request, and the Chantry doesn't like that one bit. They just love letting mages know how unwelcome they are. Which puts me in a bit of an awkward position. I was once a Templar.
You were a mage hunter?
Not that that's all Templars do, but yes, the Chantry raised me until Duncan recruited me 6 months ago. I'm sure the revered mother meant it as an insult, sending me as her messenger, and the mage picked right up on that. I never would have agreed to deliver it, but Duncan says we're all to cooperate and get along. Apparently they didn't get the same speech.
What about the other recruits?
Davith and Sir Jory are here in the camp. Have you met them?
Yes, both of them.
That makes things easy then. They'll both be back with Duncan by now.
I look forward to traveling with you.
You do? Huh. That's a switch. If you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, lead on.
Let's not be so hasty. Let's take a minute. Have a conversation. Get to know each other a little. That sounded dirty.
Yes?
Tell me a little about yourself.
As I said, I was trained as a Templar before Duncan recruited me about 6 months ago. The Chantry raised me. And becoming a Templar was a decision made for me, a long time ago. Duncan saw I wasn't happy, and figured my training against mages could double for fighting Darkspawn. Now, here I stand, a proud Grey Warden. The Grand Cleric wouldn't have let me go if Duncan never forced the issue. I'll always be grateful to him.
You didn't want to join the Chantry?
It just wasn't for me. I believe in the Maker well enough, but I never wanted to devote my life to the Chantry.
You speak fondly of Duncan.
I spent years in that Chantry, hopelessly resigned to my fate. Duncan was the first person who cared what I wanted. He risked a lot of trouble with the Grand Cleric to help me.
If you say that one, he gets very offended. He's like, "Ugh, he didn't just get me for that, he was helping me, jerk." Not very offended, you know. It's hard to really offend Alistair, but we'll skip that one. I have a few questions for you.
What about?
The Grey Wardens.
So I imagine. What would you like to know?
What makes you all so special?
The Grey Wardens are warriors without equal. Darkspawn threatened to destroy the world 4 times over. Each time, the Grey Wardens led mankind to victory. Nobody knows more about Darkspawn, and nobody's better equipped to deal with them. You'll see. Trust me.
So they're knights? Heroes?
I don't know if I'd go that far. Duncan says the Grey Wardens do whatever is necessary to protect mankind from Darkspawn. That means some pretty extreme things. Whatever it takes to bring victory.
Where are all the Grey Wardens now?
The others are camped with the King's soldiers in the valley. The King's given us a position of honor at the vanguard, despite our small numbers. I think Kalen is actually excited to ride into battle with us. Maybe he thinks that's what his father would have done.
I'm not sure I know much of anything about the Grey Wardens, which is a lie, but, you know, for the sake of dialogue.
Well, let's see. Surely you've heard of Weishaupt Fortress? The great eyrie carved into the White Cliffs far off in the Anderfels? That's where the Grey Wardens once kept their griffins. The griffins died out, however, and our numbers have dwindled since the last blight. There's only a handful left in Ferelden. A few more in other nations.
So the Grey Wardens have the right to recruit anyone?
King Marek, Kaelin's father, reaffirmed the power the Grey Wardens were given during the blights. In practice, we can't conscript too often without hurting our cause. We were exiled from Ferelden once. Best not to let that happen again.
That's all I wanted to know.
You want to ask me about something else?
Of course. The blight Duncan mentioned.
Of course.
So, what is a blight? Where do Darkspawn come from?
You want the Chantry's version or the truth?
They aren't the same thing?
They seldom are.
Well, we've heard the Chantry's version. Give me the truth, then.
The truth is, we don't really know. They come up from the ground. And that's as far as we've gotten.
What is the Chantry's version?
According to the Chant of Light, the Maker imprisoned the old gods underground long ago, as punishment for tricking mankind into worshipping them. The old gods still whispered to some men and taught them magic. These men became the Magisters of the Tevinter Empire. The Magisters used their gift to enter the Golden City, tainting it and themselves. They were cast out by the Maker and became the first Darkspawn. They fled underground, bringing their taint to their gods. The tainted old gods were the archdemons who rose from their prisons and led the Darkspawn against the world.
I do not recommend... I think it would be easily possible to make a drinking game out of this game by taking a drink whenever they say the word taint. I don't recommend it. I feel like you'd probably get drunk really fast. And yeah, I agree, Julia. He sounds very preachy because I think he's doing that on purpose. I think he's mocking the way that the Chantry says it. So that was the first blight.
Yes, and it nearly wiped us out. When defeated, the Darkspawn flee back underground and seek out another old god to taint, thus bringing another blight.
So where is the archdemon for this blight?
We haven't seen it yet. People are beginning to think this is just an unusually large Darkspawn raid without an archdemon to unify them. But seriously, the archdemon could be in the wilds or underground. It could be hiding. Just because it hasn't shown itself doesn't mean it isn't out there.
Why not kill the Darkspawn when they're underground?
They've controlled the deep roads ever since they defeated the Dwarven kingdoms. Even if we invaded, we can only chase them so far.
I don't know. I don't think to play that drinking game. I don't think I have the warden stamina for it. What is an archdemon exactly?
The old gods were dragons, so the stories say. Big ones. Intelligent, even. The Tevinter Empire had big statues of them. Each dragon had a name and a place in the cosmos. It's all very intricate. The archdemons may not be the old gods, but they're definitely dragons.
Why are some people so skeptical?
The Grey Wardens killed so many Darkspawn by the end of the last Blight. People decided they were gone for good.
I have other questions about the blight.
Of course.
How do Grey Wardens defeat blights?
We chop off the snake's head. It's the only way. According to texts, the most famous Grey Warden leader, Garahel, killed the Archdemon Underal in personal combat at the Battle of Aesley to end the last Blight. Without the Archdemon to command them, the Darkspawn flee back underground.
A story that is actually told in more detail in the novel Last Flight, which is has a very interesting format. How did anyone even know about this blight?
The Grey Wardens keep watch. We feel the Darkspawn when they come. You'll understand after the joining. If you... well, you'll understand. Not to mention, people start to notice when Darkspawn pour out of the wilds and taint everything around them. Just a guess.
Just how many Darkspawn are out there?
Thousands. Tens of thousands. They've had centuries to build up their numbers.
That's all I wanted to know.
You want to ask me about something else?
Tell me about Duncan.
Duncan is the leader of the Grey Wardens in Ferelden. Which he would say doesn't mean much, as there aren't many of us here. Yet. Beyond that, he's a good man. A good judge of character. I owe him a lot. What about you? What do you think of him?
He seems like a kind man, if firm.
Fair enough. He's done the best he can with what little he has. And that includes me, I guess. You want to ask me about something else?
The joining ritual.
There's not a lot I can tell you. We go and collect Darkspawn blood. And then you'll hear everything.
Surely you can tell me something.
Look, I can't tell you much, all right? The joining is very unpleasant. I wish I could forget it, but I can't. I don't envy what you're going to have to go through.
But what actually happens in the joining?
You learn why it's a secret.
I can't say I'm thrilled by the idea.
I was scared out of my wits. But you get through it. You have to. If becoming a Grey Warden were easy, we wouldn't recruit the best. You want to ask me about something else?
This upcoming battle.
The one tomorrow. I'll tell you. It's Tairn Loghain we should be looking to win it, not the king. Caelan just wants his place in history. The Tairn is planning the strategy. That's my opinion, anyway. I guess I should be thankful the king favors us Grey Wardens. But I know who's keeping the lid on the pot.
How much will I be participating?
You know, that's a good question. The other Grey Wardens are riding into battle with the king. I don't know if you'll be with them.
Why is it happening here, of all places?
We're at the edge of the Korkari Wilds, the eye of the Blight Storm, right where the Horde will be coming. Ostagar itself is an excellent defensive position. The Wilders were pushed back from here time and again in ancient days.
What are the chances of success?
I'm sure Teyrn Loghain has the battle planned to the last detail. Still, no blight has ever been defeated with so little cost.
What if we fail?
If we don't break the horde here, Duncan says it will spread until it engulfs all of Ferelden. Then it will take an alliance of nations to fight it, which would be bad. Neither the king nor the Teyrn really seems to believe this is a real blight, however.
That's all I wanted to know.
You want to ask me about something else?
No, I think we've covered it. I've no more questions.
Then let's get a move on, shall we?
And now that we have met Alistair, we're going to wrap up for today. And I am glad that you guys could join. Thanks for hanging out, Julia, and keeping me hopping with all your questions. And I wish you luck with the drinking game, but I think, be careful with that. Make sure there's a lot of water handy. We will be heading onward next Monday with our next playthrough and getting to find out what this joining is all about. Ooh. So thanks for hanging out, and I will see you next time.
Thanks for watching. To see more travel highlights of virtual destinations, don't forget to like and subscribe. And if there's a game location you'd like me to visit, tell me in the comments below. If you enjoy what I do, feel free to support me on Ko-fi.com or check out my travel stickers, postcards, and other designs on Redbubble. Links are in the description. Safe journeys, and see you next time on Travel Rebooted.